Attention bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, Yodelers. We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I am your host today, Jackie, and we have...
G-Fifth.
And...
Basil of Baker Street.
Ooh, one of my favorite characters.
Today, we are going to be talking about the Disney animated features during the Dark Ages.
Some say bronze, but when you watch these,
They're pretty dark.
are dark. Like, just the
color,
art theming is darker.
You look at Winnie the Pooh, man, they went dark there, you know?
The red eyes. He's like, it's my honey rabbit. I don't care if I'm stuck. Keep feeding me.
So, the Dark...
I'm so sorry.
The Dark Age movies is from... We're saying from...
1970.
Yeah, till end of 80s.
88. Because
Yeah.
Little Mermaid came out in 89.
Yeah. So these were movies that probably weren't as popular.
Do you want to just list them off real quick?
Yeah.
That way they have like an idea of what movies fall in this range. Because we didn't include what movies?
Jungle Book.
Jungle Book,
Bedknobs
Bedknobs,
and Broomsticks.
Peach
and
Dragon,
Peach Dragon.
and Brave
Brave
Little
Little
Toaster.
Yeah. So these movies are The Aristocats, 1970s, Robin Hood, 1973, Many Ventures of Winnie the Pooh, 1977, The Rescuers, 1977, Fox and the Hound, 1981, Black Cauldron, 1985,
What?
Great Mouse Detective, 1986, and Oliver and Company, 1988. So, those were the movies, and we are going to be talking about what were our favorites and our least favorites.
And I found some fun facts about them to spruce up these
Dark and
because they could
dreary.
come off really negative. Because some of these movies, I'm like, I would rather not watch these movies ever again.
Let's get to the Renaissance already.
Yeah.
I want Golden Age. No, or like, no, that was before. That
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
That was
that's
like
the
Snow
Cinderella.
White.
Like,
Oh, that's Cinderella? Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, because there's the war
Yeah.
Right.
period, and then there's like after war. You have
Right.
the Cinderella on.
So let's start with our least favorite.
I think it's probably a consensus. I'm just gonna say the Black Cauldron.
I am saying, The Rescuers.
That's where I was. I put Rescuers.
I thought it was better. I have it somewhere in the middle. So since you both talked about the Rescuers, can I do my fun notes about the Rescuers?
Yeah.
Let's do fun note.
So the spin-off Green Light in 1989, with it being reworked with Chip and Dale replacing Bernard and Miss Bianca into Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. So Rescue Rangers was supposed to have them in there.
Oh, it probably would have been better.
Then Chip and Dale in there? Maybe. No, I'm talking not the Rescuers, but like the TV show Rescue Rangers.
Uh-huh.
It was originally to be greenlit with Bernard
Rescuers.
and the Rescuers.
Oh, okay.
Because that was probably during that time when Eisner was all like, what was the best movie in the last like 20 years that we found
Right.
more success? And that was it. And he also greenlit the first sequel ever, which is The Rescuers Down Under.
Was that the first sequel?
That's the first sequel to come out in the Disney animation era.
I just thought it was boring, the movie.
Yeah.
It's just, the plot was just meh. The
There was nothing really captivating. The villains
the
were
villain
meh.
wasn't that great.
Medusa is evil.
She just reminded me of Cruella de Vil. The whole car
Yes.
scene, I was like, this is from 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah, I could see them stealing that. I just thought she was more evil. I think so. Here, I'll give you a scenario, or I'll give you like a three choice. Who do you think is more evil? Medusa, or Miss Medusa, Cruella or Mother Gothel.
Mother Gothel.
Yeah. Mother Gothel.
I think Medusa's real bad. Like, just the like, I'm gonna take you from your kid. She did the psychological thing like Mother Gothel, and she was just gonna leave her in that well, pretty much. Just give me my stone, and just like, I'll leave you for dead. Like, you know, she was never gonna drop that kid back in that orphanage. That kid was never gonna get out of that well again. There, she was.
You're right.
She was gonna be
Yeah.
crocodile food.
You're right.
That woman is just pure.
You're
evil.
I
not
thought
wrong. You're not
her
wrong.
animation style was more realistic of a woman. Of
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Like someone who's in their like, declining years.
Yes.
Like that pre-menopause like body. Yeah, I could definitely
Sure.
see.
And like if would fit her character as a villain too.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was. I think she's probably one of the most human, like evil
Okay.
characters.
All right.
And I give her props to that.
I can see that.
And I liked her sidekick. He kind of was fun. Like squirrely little self. Like he kind of broke up like the evilness where like
Yeah.
you hate. They're just like, oh, this guy's annoying, but he's kind of like bumbling. Like stupid.
He's not completely evil. He's just kind of like
What a dumb
yeah.
guy sidekick.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that before in any Disney movie.
I love who.
LeFou, we got Kronk, we got...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
We like Kronk.
Yeah,
Kronk's
Kronk is
good.
great.
Um,
What was your last one or your bottom one?
my
Oh,
bo-
it's
it's the Black Cauldron. We'll talk about that
Yeah.
then. They said this is the first and only major hit after Walt had died and before
Right.
Little Mermaid. They say
This was the best performing movie out of all of them.
Wow.
although it doesn't
don't-
have the highest rating
I
in
think it just-
IMDb.
Doesn't hold up to today. The music is outdated. It's
All
not
of the
time-
music in this era is horrible, except
Yeah.
for
Winnie
all
the
of
Pooh.
it. Winnie the Pooh.
Aristocats has good music.
Yeah, and now there's a warning on front of it because of
'Cause of how good
Well,
it
not
is.
that song, but
this is the era where you're like, oh my gosh, I totally missed the mark on what Dad says makes a good movie. Catchy music.
Yep.
yeah,
You know,
Yep.
they killed the Sherman brothers and then it's just like no more.
yeah,
And I do like the universe that they built, like with the different countries and stuff.
Yes.
That
oh
was
yeah,
kind of
that was cute.
fun. And it also makes me think: is the
Is there an animal UN?
no the Great Mouse Detective?
Yeah.
They have a mouse Britain World investigation.
He
I never-
looks like
it's all part of the same universe
Yeah.
in that way. And I never bridged it until I watched like the Great Mouse Detective. I was like, oh yeah, this could be totally part of like the human,
same
the same
universe.
universe.
Yep.
You know, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of fun. It bridged to where I got higher marks, or I just didn't really like other movies.
well,
in
the
this
same
group.
universe as the Mouse and Aristocats.
Maybe. But then you're just at that point, like it's the whole animal,
Yeah, and
universe.
this Dark Ages focus on a lot
They
of
really
animals.
leaned on the animals on this
Yes.
one.
That was a big focus here.
They did say this movie was the first with computer animation, but I'm like, they kept seeing that in other things too. They're
Yeah.
like, it's the first, and I was
They
like,
say
trying
that
to-
like in Great Mouse Detective.
it's a Great Man the Clock
Yeah.
scene
Right.
and the bullet as they spin that.
Right.
So I don't know if it is. That's where it's like, I don't know about this fact about it, but
Yeah.
interesting facts about it.
Okay. What is your next one from the bottom?
Fox and the Hound.
That was for me too.
I went Black Cauldron.
Okay. Because I
Yeah.
did Black Cauldron at 8.
Right.
Mine's Fox and the Hound.
Do you mind if we talk about Fox? Is that high on your list?
It's higher.
It's
yeah.
higher.
I mean, we could talk about Fox and the Hound. I
Yeah,
don't have a
let's
problem
do
with
it.
it.
Fun facts about it?
Fun facts.
Mickey Rooney's in it. He's Todd.
Yeah. He's
Kurt
adult
Russell. He's Copper. Corey Feldman. He's young Copper.
Yeah.
And then Grandpa Joe, from Charlie and Chocolate Factory. He's Jack Albertson. He's the old man.
He's the old man.
So it was kind of fun. Like I couldn't unhear Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with his voice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
That's true, yeah.
And it is his last movie he was
Oh.
that debuted after. He like died and then like the movie came out.
Oh really?
So yeah. Yeah, then here they go like, it was the first movie with animated computer, and I was like, okay, this era is like, well, what do you mean by animated? Last feature animation for animators Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson of the old nine.
There's a good documentary on Disney Plus
If
about
they were
that.
actually probably animating or something, like they may have been doing other things. Tim Burton and John Lasseter worked on the film,
Really?
like early Apprentice
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of stuff. And this one right here, 360,000 drawings, 110,000 painted cells, 450 gallons of paint, 180 people, and 24 animators in 3 years for this film. So, just some fun. And I was like, I was like 360,000 drawings. It's like, dang, with only 180 people or 24 animators, it's just like serious work right there.
So why was this rank lower?
I have an aversion to this movie. Our dad gave us the VHS for Easter, and like that Easter, we all thought we got food poisoning from McDonald's, and we just threw up while watching this film. No, I just think it's so boring.
It's boring.
It's just I don't like animal movies.
You don't.
I mean,
They always rank low for you.
it's like I want them to be more human animals than like animals that could talk.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably why I don't like Lion King, because this falls in the same kind of category.
Yeah.
It is closer, like they're animals, but they're like Lion King. They're more animals, but they have like human structure in the sense of like governance. This is just like pure animals that just talk. Like it's just animals talking to one another, but we have a translator for this.
I just thought it was like, you got the young the young animals, and they're cute, and that's great. But then it's just like, they get older, and like, I don't know.
I liked the message with it. I liked the message of, children don't necessarily see the differences. They just see each other as what they are.
It is a good message,
Yeah.
and it is good for its time too. You're dealing with like post civil rights movements, and like there's still a lot of prejudice and stuff, but kids are innocent. They don't see that stuff.
No.
Correct. And I love that message. It was a great message. And then them as growing as an adult and realizing and losing that innocence, like
You have to hunt your friends down and turn them in.
It was a sense of like reality. Like this movie actually shows like how a lot of people like will grow and perceive life and things like. So I felt like it was well written in terms of like explaining.
It has a good message, a good moral,
Yeah, I think so. Like
but it's like its delivery. It just
and again,
it's-
all of these movies. If I were to rank all the Disney movies, all of these
are in the low
These
end.
are in these in this section are in the low end.
They're with Chicken Run and Home on the Range. You
Yeah.
know, right?
Right.
I haven't even seen those movies, so we'll see how like we'll come up with like a bottom 10 of like movies and top 10
Right when we finish.
when we
Yeah.
finish all these ages. Yeah, it just doesn't do it for me.
I don't have much to say because it just didn't hit me in the feels, or I just would rather watch something else. Okay, the next one from my bottom would be Black Cauldron.
We can talk about Black
We can
Cauldron
talk
now.
about Black Cauldron.
All right, fun facts.
Yeah.
First Disney animation film that's not
CG.
musical. I know, it's like, IMDb, you're really screwing me over on this one, all right? No, the first Disney animation film that's not musical, not sung, or in the background.
Right.
Edited twice to avoid being released as PG-13.
Right.
Wow.
It was a
It's
dark movie.
super dark.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing skulls.
Well,
and
they
stuff.
made an attraction for this
In
in Tokyo, and it was scary.
It was the castle walkthrough.
Oh, how sad. Yeah, it's gotten a following there.
Yes.
And that's what they were saying. Okay, early screening had crying kids and angry mothers in the undead section.
I bet.
the undead coming to life.
Yeah.
And you gotta, like, this is 1985. What's coming out in this time? You have, like, Conan the Barbarian.
Right.
And those type of, like, cartoons and movies. There's that...
Dark and gritty and
yeah,
monsters.
And this medieval... I mean, Gummy Bears comes out, and they have that kind of, like... It's a happier version of this medieval... time period, but there's still some like dark trolls and stuff like that. Yeah, it's an interesting time with Hollywood trying to figure out like what's popular and what works with kids. And Disney in the next era like nails it, and
Right.
then like Hollywood figures out like kids make money.
You're
Right.
right.
And they were still trying to be like, we'll include the whole family, and it's like no, we're gonna nail this
Right.
later on.
It's based off of a book series.
Yes, and Frank and Ollie, it was their idea, and they convinced the company to buy the rights for it and produce it in 1971. It's like, yeah, they got that one wrong.
They did.
Or no, it may have been better if they had better direction. Or just like two
Right.
separate
Yeah.
teams, and you could see it's two separate movies.
Yes.
The characters are like two different personalities.
Yes.
You don't like the main character, right?
Honestly,
The guy, do you like the boy?
I didn't mind him.
He's garbage.
He is. He's not very good.
The best character is the little Fergie kid, or the Fergie, like, what's his name?
Gurgi?
Gurgi.
Gurgi.
He's the most likable. Like, the girl's like, meh, nothing. You know, I just...
There was no
It-
personality.
Oh,
There
and then you
was-
have the mandolin, like, playing
He
old
was
man.
random.
It is,
so
exactly.
random.
Random.
And then the whole pig thing was all like, okay, we're here to get the pig. And then, like, the fairy things were like, okay, we're going to take the pig home.
It was so weird. And the witches, I didn't like, the women were drawn by, like, old creepy men.
Yes.
They're like big boobs and curvy. I was just like,
And
Disney
they're,
movie? Like I was like Disney movie? Like things were moving and I was all like,
and they're like, let's make one of the women, like, obsessively stalkery.
yes. Yeah. I was like, you're losing me on this one with like the animation, and it just seemed like there was no one in charge of this train.
Right. It's apparently, I haven't read the book series or anything like that, but apparently it's a really good book series.
It's kind of built off of Welsh mythology.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind them making a live action.
And that's
And
for
they
this.
bought the rights for it in 2016.
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
Honestly,
that's what was reported.
I think they
to
would
me,
make
you know.
a really good, like, live action Disney Plus series.
Well, are we ready for a dark series? Willow got canceled.
Willow got canceled.
That was...
That's hard.
And it already had a fan base that was
Yeah.
wanting. You don't have people... You have the Horizon fans like, bring back Horizon! And Black Cauldron is like, go back to the 80s.
Right. Right.
As he drives away in his little DeLorean, you know, like, okay, all right, we get it. But yeah, it's just... My daughter likes it. She calls it the potion. I like potion movie. I was like, my child likes Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes, your
But
daughter-
I have a future goth kid. I just know it.
Your daughter has a dark soul.
But then she likes Miley Cyrus. She's like, play the flower song, Dad. So this is gonna be interesting childhood.
Right.
with
It's
this
going to be a
kid.
fun teenage years.
Whatever. Like, here's some fun rock metal. I'll be able to relate to you there if that's your jam. Yeah, that's why it's low on mine. Why do you like it? Why do you have it higher than like? No. You guys
I
have.
have it
I was the
higher.
one that had it.
I had
lower.
it number the second.
Second
one.
I
below,
have it
yeah, yeah.
higher out of both of you.
So what makes it better for you?
It's a non-animal, like, the main character is not a animal.
It's true. I think this is the only one that's not. Oh, there's Winnie the Pooh.
But that's
Christopher
still
Robin,
that's
but
still
it's
animal.
talking. Yeah.
And I don't know. I thought it's like an adventure story, and I didn't mind. I just didn't mind it.
I know that's not Peter's jam. Peter doesn't like the adventure. Like you've had issues with that story, like with the adventure storyline.
Which one?
Like when they're given a task, and they got to go through this like a little adventure. Because you do that with like Onward.
Right.
It's not
yeah,
your favorite
it just,
story.
It just And they didn't. The way they portray it wasn't very good either.
Like,
so.
hearing your point of views, I get it, but I would rather watch The Black Cauldron over The Rescuers.
I would watch it just to like. It's
My
like a
wife-
train wreck. It's
my
what it's like
wife-
me watching a train wreck. Like I don't.
My
know what
wife
it is.
loves The Rescuers.
My wife does too.
She's all like, she loves this song. Someone rescue.
What?
Yes.
And I'm all like,
Yes.
that's such a blast song.
Oh,
That movie has the darkest beginning. You're
It
like,
does.
it's
Yes.
just like you're like, I'm watching Disney, and they're just like, someone
Rescue
save
me.
me, and you're just like, oh gosh, I'm starting so low, and you never get out of it till the very end of
Right.
Rescuers, and then you see the mom going, is that the real mom? Because she looks just like little Penny, like,
Right.
yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. Peter, what do you have?
My next one was Oliver and Company.
Yeah, that was in my range too.
I thought it was funny because it's like in The Rescuers, you've got, is it Penny?
Yeah, I think so.
And then in Oliver and Company, it's Jenny, and they look the exact same.
Coincidence? I think not.
right?
I was like, related?
I think I read that it was. What did I get with that? There was something with the producer where he wanted to film like for his daughter. And it was kind of like based off of her.
Gotcha.
Oliver and Company, based off Oliver Twist, right? It beat out Land Before Time, and Ernest Saves Christmas around the same month. So it had some success, and it had a good like cast. You had Joey Lawrence.
Oh,
who's
yeah.
Oliver. Whoa.
They had a really good cast.
Billy
Like,
Joel,
they had
Bette
a-
Midler,
I
Dom DeLuise.
really didn't mind this movie at all. I actually have a little bit higher than the next one, but
I just didn't care for the story. Music was really good. I
Yeah.
enjoyed the music a lot.
Oh,
That's why I
it's
didn't
the
go.
first
well,
time you
the
get it,
story
right?
is Oliver, the classic story of Oliver.
And if you don't like it, if you don't like Oliver's
Yeah.
Twist, then you're not gonna like this movie. And that's kind of like my thing. I'm not a huge.
And
Oliver
again,
Twist.
I maybe I just didn't care for the New York. I think it was like the New
The
York
New
City
York
vibe.
vibe.
I didn't really care.
And New
for
York
that.
is like still in that grungy.
This is
period.
not like the
touristy
touristy
New York.
New York. This is like gritty. Like
Everyone
stay
goes
away.
home at 11
Gargoyle.
o'clock.
This is
like,
gargoyles time, New York.
Yeah.
Right. Like this isn't like It's not happy time.
They did do
New
some
York.
really cool like camera angles. They said when they were prepping for it, they did it at the like what New York looks like for a dog or a cat.
Sure.
So when you get some of that background stuff.
Yeah. Was Oliver and Company your next one, Japheth?
It was in the same. It's in my 5-6 range. I was
Yeah.
kind of torn between that and Rescuers.
Yeah.
I think for Rescuers it was like Medusa and like, you know, I like Bianca. I like her voice, the voice actress, and what's his name, Tom Newhart or something like that. He was the other voice. So I always like their voices, and their characters didn't bother me.
Right.
So that's why it's kind of in the middle, not at the bottom.
As far as Oliver and Company, I really enjoyed the music, the characters itself. I think, yeah, the story could have been stronger, but overall, I think out of all of the movies, it's fairly decent.
It's that transition. Great Mouse Detective
Yeah.
and this movie really
They were the transition.
they
Yes.
were
to the
transitioning to
Renaissance.
like, oh, okay, this worked, this didn't work.
But I think
get rid of
it
this.
was the music worked in Oliver and Company, and that's what they're like. We need to focus on music.
And this is kind of like one of the first movies where your cast is majority like famous.
Right.
You know, it's just
Very celebrity driven.
very.
Yes.
And I think they may have saw that in Fox and the Hound, like, oh, we get familiar voices, or maybe Yeah, I think so, because there was kind of a like urban myth that Kurt Russell was filming like Escape from New York, and he was recording the voice in his costume in this like a post-apocalyptic kind of like costume. But that's not true. But I mean, you got Billy Joel and Bette Midler, and Georgette was a kind of a fun character, this like
Yeah.
snooty, you know,
Poodle.
poodle, and she had a great song that
Yeah.
opened.
Yeah.
Every time I wake up, like I look in the mirror, I'm like, girl, we got a lot of work to do. Like you can't help but
Yeah.
like we got this saggy eyes, and you're like, "Ooh, boy, we need to work on that."
Right.
I like it. It's always
Yeah.
been fun, and Bette Midler's got an amazing voice. But
For
you don't get
sure.
any more songs from her. She's like a one song, and
Right.
Yeah.
and they kind of needed to work on that stuff.
Next on mine that was towards the bottom was The Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
I think we're like halfway mark, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not. Oh, we're working towards the top now, right?
Right.
Yeah, we're in the
Winnie
I
the
noticed
Pooh
that
was-
all of ours are all about the same. We're all kind of hovering.
We're all
in the
same
area.
We all like
range.
our lows are all in the same low. So now we're in like 4, right? This is like number 4 on our list.
yeah.
And like Winnie the Pooh is my number 4.
As a kid, I watched this all the time.
Is it because we could relate? Our family was broken down by characters.
It
in
could
this?
have been, but I think also it was easier to follow because of smaller stories.
Well, it was originally released
It's like the
as
book.
shorts.
They're like the book.
yeah.
When you read the first chapter, it goes along with
They
it.
were originally released in the 60s. So, like, they were characters in Disney parks before
Yeah,
this
you
movie
saw
came
Pooh
out.
in that big giant costume
with the honey pot
the
on
honey
his
pot
head.
for the head. Like,
Yeah.
But it wasn't until, was it 71 or something?
77 is when the movie came out.
When they compiled all the shorts together into one movie. So it had technically already come out, but this is when they're like, let's just release it all together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Fun fact: Gopher was originally going to replace Piglet,
Oh.
and then Waterboy fact: Clint Howard was the voice of Roo, known for his role in Waterboy for saying, "I haven't seen a tackle like that since Joe
Joe
Montana." I said Joe Montana.
Joe Montana was a quarterback, you idiot.
I'll say Joe Montana. So those who don't know who Clint Howard is, he is Ron Howard's brother. He was the director of Apollo 13. He was on
Right.
Happy Days and stuff. So he's kind of like rode the coattails of his brother, and he's been in his brother's films, and he's made a couple appearances in The Waterboy. And I know it kind of bugs Jackie when I like tangent off Waterboy.
Well, because once you get started, you get Peter involved, and you guys go for like 10 minutes.
Look at me, I'm the Waterboy.
Okay.
What does Mama have to say now?
Let's,
Alligators all angry. They got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
let's move on.
Such a great movie.
Winnie the Pooh.
You can do your own episode on Waterboy.
We can do a touchstone
Yeah.
episode.
Why not? We had the thing is we had the poster in our
We did.
our
We had
the
room,
poster in
because
our
Dad
room.
got like all the Touchstone films, and like we had Waterboy in there, so we had him
Yeah.
in the goofy like costume.
Right.
All right.
Winnie the Pooh, like
Yeah.
like it's I don't know if we discussed it, but like
It's
you
cute.
have the different psychological disorders, and that's what's interesting about watching it. And it's funny because we broke it down in our own family, and it's like,
We
is
did.
it true? Like, how
It
it
kind
is?
of fits.
It's like Pooh's a glutton. Like he just can't. He's like so. Not saying that like. Father Yoder is a glutton, but man, you put a bag of chips in there, he'll be in the other room and he'll be like, I felt a disturbance in the chips. He just knows that his chips are Pooh's honey. That's what it's
Totally
equivalent
is.
to.
Yeah.
He smells it.
And like Eeyore's like, like it's sleepy, and like that was our mom. Like,
I know, like as children, we always viewed Eeyore as a sleepy character, but like
he's depressed.
she's depressed, and so my mom's always like, "I'm the depressed one. That's why I'm Eeyore." It's like, no, that's not why
You're
No.
sleepy.
You're sleepy.
Yeah.
You're tired.
And I was Rabbit, and Rabbit deals with OCD and control. And I was like, I remember I hated it because I was like, no, I'm Tigger. And they're like, no, you're not. You're a rabbit. And I was like, no, I don't want to be Rabbit. And as I watched it, I was like, I am so Rabbit. Like, my daughter was watching this. She's like, oh, Dada Rabbit. And I was like, mother trucker. Peter was...
I was Tigger.
You were
You're the
Tigger.
energetic
I was.
one.
It's the
I was the
ADD,
spaz.
the jumping,
Yeah. Yep.
moving,
Yep.
ADHD.
I can't sit still.
Just the go, and what's this and that, and then Jackie was the scared one,
Oh, I'm
anxiety.
paranoid. Yeah,
You know,
scared of
got the
things.
anxiety.
Yep.
So it's like, Oh wow! I like
It hit
we
our
were just doing it
family.
like, oh, it's how we interact with each other. It's like, no, that movie was like before we
Spot
knew it
on.
was like it was foreshadowing our
Our life,
personalities and stuff like that. So interesting.
That was my number 3.
What was your number 4?
My number 4 was what was it?
Great Mouse.
Aristocats.
Yeah, I
Oh.
switched that with you.
Yeah, Aristocats.
Aristocats is one for me.
I would rather watch Winnie the Pooh. So
My next bottom one next one after Winnie the Pooh is Great Mouse Detective.
Oh no, that's not true.
It's true.
That's not true at all.
that's not true. That's impossible.
Great Mouse Detective is a top 10 film for me in animation for Disney.
Really?
I enjoy watching it every
It's a
time.
fantastic film.
Every time. But I like Sherlock Holmes movies. I like that investigative.
Yeah.
I like that intellectual kind of trying to reasoning and deduction kind of films.
It's a great movie. It's in my top for sure. But there is a dull moment.
Dabber.
Yeah, there's a dull moment.
Blabbersham.
That like you can easily fall asleep to.
So
It's-
we're at
it's-
Aristocats, right?
Yeah, if we were at Aristocats.
Aristocats. Music's better. It still has the remnants of the previous era.
Right.
It's a transitional film. You know, it's got fun characters. The dogs and the butler.
the dogs are great.
Funny. That was like you see the remnants of like fun interactions and slapstick kind of physical comedy that kind of gets lost after Robin Hood.
Yes.
I don't know. I think Aristocats is one for me because of the music.
Aristocats. Yeah, it was the last film to be approved by Walt Disney and worked on the story of a little bit with the rescuers.
Yeah.
Tigger's voice is the voice of the Chinese cat. And you'll hear in this era, you hear a
Siamese
lot
cat.
of Siamese cats. Excuse me. I apologize. I copy and paste from IMDb. Not the most politically correct all the time or correct. So it's fun facts with Japheth who don't verify things, okay? Captain Hook's French, all right? Third film to be set in France. What are the other two?
Oh,
Beauty
wait.
and the Beast.
No.
No.
Oh,
at
before?
this time it was the third.
At the time, it was the third film to be set, and these are popular big films within the
What
era.
would be France? Is Sleeping Beauty considered France?
Yup, she's
Okay.
French.
And
You didn't see her
Captain Hook,
drink-
right?
And Captain Hook. No, no, he's just in London.
Let's see. What would be the other one?
She lost the show.
Cinderella.
Cinderella's French.
Oh.
Really? Okay.
That's what IMDb says. I mean, it's
I mean, why not? It's
why
a castle,
not?
and yeah,
There's lots
okay.
of those there in Europe. Scat Cat's in Robin Hood.
Okay.
He's not like dressed as Scat Cat, but he looks
Yeah.
just like him, and he plays a little flute. That's all I got for Aristocats and the fun facts there.
All right. Let's talk about Robin Hood. It feels like we're all in agreement.
It's like number 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
No, actually, that's not my number one. That's
that's
my
your number one.
Yep.
It's up there. 2 and 1 for me. It's a tough one.
It's got some fun music.
I just watched it and I really enjoyed it. I was like, oh, I like this.
It's the intro gets you with the whistling.
Oh, that whistle.
So
intro.
good.
And I liked the villain. I thought it was a fun villain. Yeah.
It was. I felt like it was entertaining the whole way
Yeah,
through.
it was. There was
There's
a-
a lull a little bit.
I think the
Oh,
lull
when
is
they
when
fall
there's
in
a-
love
The fall in love.
and they like go in this waterfall.
And
They
it's
like,
like, oh, this is a
This-
70s, 60s kind of garbage
Yeah.
kind of scene.
feels like only yesterday.
yeah, it's like, what? Let's go back to the bad guys.
I know we went. Well, you go from this high of like the phony king of
Yeah.
England to love.
It does. You know, you have this great moment in the dance scene, which you could be seen in Snow White. You know, they copy and pasted that one. Friar Tuck was supposed to be a pig. Friar Tuck. Boy, I'm glad I didn't switch that around. He was supposed to be a pig, and the sheriff was supposed to be a goat.
Really?
But they thought like the pig with
Yeah.
a religious, you know, some
Sure.
religions don't like favor pigs, so they're
Yeah.
like, let's turn them to like
a mole?
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I
that's
was
what it
thinking.
is.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. You said it at the same time with me, so I'm not.
That
we'll go
was
with
my
that.
guess. Was a mole.
And then there's
so.
supposed to be an alternate ending with Robin Hood being injured and King Richard like arriving
Oh.
during like the chaos of it.
It was it's true at the end of Robin Hood, you're just like, okay, how does it? Oh, okay, King Richard returns. Okay.
I thought the little like arrow was gonna puncture him when they were riding away in the carriage.
Right.
Just spirit. Trigger. Got my safety on.
Right.
They had fun characters.
Yeah.
The sheriff
fun.
was good.
The
Great
little
voice
kids,
for
the
'em.
bunnies, the rabbits or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, she was so cute.
Yeah,
Don't
we
forget
do-
about me.
So
Oh, that
good.
tugged at my heartstrings. You never want your little kid to
Yeah.
be left behind.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. My baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good movie. So number 1 for me was Aristocats. Peter was.
That was my number 2. Number
Well,
2 was
But
Robin
what's
Hood
your
was number
number
one.
one?
Robin Hood was my number 1.
Number 1 was Robin Hood. What's your number 1?
Great Mouse Detective.
Yeah.
That's my number 2.
Do you want some facts about
Yeah.
Great Mouse Detective? Lifelong dream for Vincent Price to voice in a Disney film.
Oh.
Right.
And he nails it.
He does.
Is?
He did
Radigan is a great villain.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's forgotten because it's just not a popular
He's an
film.
underrated villain.
Yeah. John Cleese was originally a choice for the role for Basil. So he's the one from Monty
Okay.
Python.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's got the teeth. You know, that's the kind of
He's isn't he the
he's in Rat Race. It's a race.
oh
He's the leader
he's,
of the Rat Race movie.
He's
I'm doing a movie from 20 years ago.
I
Yes,
know,
to
right?
reference him.
oh man, what? I know him from other stuff. Like he's done so much.
Yeah. If you look his name up and then you see him, you're like, oh, that guy. Yeah. He was gonna be Basil, which I'm glad he didn't do. A Dumbo toy is featured in the toy shop scene.
Oh.
And let's see, Michael Eisner wanted Michael Jackson to voice a character in it. And that's the time when you had like
That
Captain
was
EO going around.
That's Michael Eisner for you.
right.
That was the type of guy he was.
Like,
he was the
Integrating
guy,
everybody and everywhere.
he was doing everything he could to save the Disney company. The Disney company was drowning when he came on board. And so like when he came on mid 80s, I think he came on like 84 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so
Ron
like,
Miller was the one before that.
yes. And so like he was doing everything he could to like salvage everything. And so there was a lot of experimentation during that time period, and a lot of that was celebrity actors.
And it worked because you start seeing it in the next era.
Yes.
And I mean, for me now, it kind of is ruined. Because as an adult, I don't like celebrities voicing
Yep. It's
characters.
distracting.
It's distracting when I'm like, oh,
It depends
it's
on the
Kevin Hart.
celebrity.
Oh, it's
It's The Rock.
The Rock.
If it's
this,
a celebrity
like,
with like a specific voice, or if they can mask their voice,
I-
like Rocket. In
Like when
Yes.
Mark
or Groot.
Yeah, or
like
when
Groot,
Mark
yeah.
Hamill voices a character,
for Joker. Yeah, it's not. You don't know. It's
you don't know it's Mark
Yeah.
Hamill. You don't know that's Luke Skywalker.
But I don't want them reading as The Rock.
No.
You're
Right.
just like, I get you. Yeah, that doesn't work for me. I appreciate it, but I don't. As a kid, I didn't know enough.
Right. You didn't understand.
You know, like Anastasia's like, oh yeah, it's Meg Ryan. You know, like boom, you just know. But when I was a kid, I didn't know Sleepless in Seattle.
right.
and
You didn't watch that as a kid.
I didn't watch that, so it didn't bother me. What was the other thing? Oh, Michael Eisner think probably "Let Me Be Good to You" was originally to be sung by Madonna. Oh, I don't like that.
Oh.
I don't like that at all either.
No. You
I
know,
wonder who put a stop to it.
It may have been she was busy.
It
or
could have
something
been
like
Madonna
that.
was like, nah. I don't
She's
want
early
to.
on in her career, and she was booming like in the
Yeah.
early 80s. And this film came out, what, 85?
Yeah, she was busy dating Weird Al.
If you watch the alternate universe of Al.
Yes. I like the first half of that movie, but that's a discussion for another
For the Weird
podcast.
Als of our family. Yeah.
Yeah.
That film, it's still, I think we see that remnants of like the dirty old men with that like "Let me be good to you" scene.
Oh yeah.
You're just like,
Hey, big fellas,
with the
I'll
burlesque
take
side
off
Yeah.
like singing.
my clothes.
Let me be good to you. Yeah, it's like this awkward. Like as a kid, you're like, it's a fun song. As an adult, you're like, I don't know about this. This is a kid film, and like they're still like trying
People at mice are getting drunk and
date rape and
they
You're
drugs.
drunk. I think it tastes rather good. I think we've been drugged. So yeah, I like that movie a
It's
lot.
great. It's a great story.
It
It just
surprised
falls
me that
short.
it was not a popular film, but I could see why
It falls short
doesn't.
because of music for me. That was the thing that pushed it down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
If
it
it
starts
had
off
some-
strong. It's got great characters.
it's got one like a really good song. It was Radigan's song.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Radigan's
Yeah.
song.
Or the farewell. So long.
farewell. Yeah.
That was good, and you could see that transition of like they're coming up with good catchphrase songs and stuff. So, yeah, I was excited. I wanted to watch it last because I knew I liked it, and I came in going, "This is my number one, no matter what." Because
Right.
I enjoy it. And I tried watching my daughter and tried to explain it, and she didn't really catch to it. You know, she was like, "Potion film," and I was like, "You have horrible taste, child.
Not the potion.
Not potion film."
So which movie would you be okay if it never was created?
Fox and the Hound. At least with Black Cauldron, I can like go like, man, what are they doing? Like, it's just such
Well,
a
that
mystery.
movie, that movie almost bankrupt the Disney company.
Fox and the Hound?
No, Black Cauldron.
Oh.
It's and what it pulled in, its budget was 44, its gross 21.
Ooh.
It's like the only one that never made money,
Yeah. It literally almost killed the animation department.
and it was so bad they re-released 101 Dalmatian, and they made 30 million from a re-release that same year,
Just to make some extra
just
money.
to make some money. Yeah.
Peter, which movie would you get rid of?
I don't know.
Like, never created, you would never know.
Let me look at the list.
I would just be
again.
so fine with Fox and that. Like,
Yeah.
it's gone.
I
But I recognize Black Cauldron is a horrible film. Fox and the Hound has a flow,
yeah.
and the story works, and it's got a good. It's got a
I
good
would say
lesson.
I would say Black Cauldron. Honestly.
And it could. I wouldn't be. Someone goes, "We're getting rid of it." I'd be like, "That's fine. Throw it in the vault." Forget
Because
about it.
it's not one I've ever really been interested in, excited for. Like even before I saw it, I would always heard that it's the worst movie, and so I had already had those thoughts of it being negative before.
But were you surprised how bad it was when you finally watched it?
I would because the bar was set so low. I was like, yeah, okay, I get
And maybe
it.
that's for me with Black Cauldron was everyone talked about how bad it was, and when I watched it, I was like, it's not that bad.
Okay, so it was set too low to where
I
you're
think
like,
it was set.
I
too
think it was
low.
set
for
too
me,
low.
I was like, it's a bird foot, and I watched it. I was like, this is bad. It's so bad. I want to write a paper about how bad it is, or just try to analyze like, what did they screw up, or like, why did they screw this up so badly?
I think Black Cauldron has potential to be fixed.
I think so.
Yeah,
too.
I think so. I'd rather see a live action of that film than Fox and the Hound.
True
Or
that.
Lilo and Stitch.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
no, I'm not. I've got such low expectations for that.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'll watch it.
Lilo and Stitch is really not a favorite of mine.
It's not either. I'm not a big fan
Your
of
son
Stitch.
killed it for me. No, I'm just joking. Your son
He
loved
watched.
that.
He watched it
that a
all the
lot.
time.
He did. It was that, and then he went to Toy Story. After that.
But, okay. Yeah, I would say Fox and the Hound. I would be okay if I never saw that movie.
Are you excited for the next era?
Yeah.
Like to really like get into like
The
what is
Renaissance.
good in your
Yeah.
eyes and what isn't good. There's so much.
Yeah, so
And where does it end? Do you know where it ends? With the Renaissance?
I don't know at
Bolt.
the top of my head. No, it's before then. Because
I
I
mean,
don't.
it's-
Because
Mulan?
Treasure Island, Treasure
I
Planet.
think it's like Atlantis or something.
Oh.
like that.
Atlantis and Treasure Planet are probably the next
Yeah.
one because they're
It's
the
around
boys'
there.
film, right?
yeah,
No,
so
music's not really.
we're gonna have a future episode on the next era of movies, which is the era movies that everyone's pretty much familiar with.
The Renaissance,
The
the
Renaissance,
classics,
and that's
the
the
Aladdin,
era
Beauty
that
and the
we
Beast,
grew up
Little
watching.
Mermaid.
Yes.
Like where
That's-
we were raised
That's where
by
you see
that
a lot
Disney.
of the part.
This was
the
prime
adulting,
Disney.
the Disney adults
Adults were
are from
raised
this
on
generation
this.
were raised with this, not the
The
dark
rest-
ages.
yeah.
This is prime Disney animation, right? Then this next one,
Yeah.
this next generation. So
it
And,
definitely
and it
peaked.
doesn't really recover after
and
it
and
until 2010.
and
Like,
it's this generation of films that made us decide not to do like an all-encompassing. These are our favorites and these are our least favorite, because a lot of our favorites are going to be from this next era.
and it will be interesting once we finish these lists to break down like our favorites. And I really think it's going to be hard to break
Oh,
apart the
it'll be too
nostalgia
hard.
aspect of
Right.
like our childhood and this list. But some of those movies are just well done.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the music and the storytelling. Disney does build upon itself, and this Dark Ages is a lesson for Disney to
It
learn
was.
Yeah.
of like the era is like
This was-
post Vietnam and after a war.
Well, this was
American cinema changes.
Oh,
And
it
like
did.
Father Yoder always says, like he grew up and he goes, it was a weird era for movies, and then Star Wars came and it changed it.
Yes.
And he always is like, Star Wars was the light that like helped American cinema because it was in this
it
weird
just brought
storytelling.
light and excitement.
You had sad endings. You're like, that's it. Okay, I'll go home now. It's so. I see that a lot of that reflection, that storytelling from Dad, or that truth that Dad says, of that era from living it, really like resonates here. And there is that transition from Walt.
Correct. That was what I was about to say, was that like this is the time Walt is no longer at the helm guiding the direction of storytelling.
And we see that transition also once Disneyland is his primary focus.
Correct.
In Disney World, where he's like, okay, I built the foundation for this animation. Don't screw it up. And you can kind of see the storytelling
it starts fading a little
like
bit.
flatten. Alice in Wonderland and Jungle Book and stuff. They're good, but they're not like the good storytelling in
It's
the
not
past.
Peter Pan. It's not the other ones.
And it's not that
Cinderella.
there isn't
it's
good
not-
material there.
yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
And then here, it's just we've lost the art of good storytelling because of money. The money went to the parks.
Yep.
yeah.
And like I remember reading in the animation book going like it was a weird time. Like photocopy came around and they're like, okay, we're gonna save money. And like it was just not cost effective to do these films. And the benefit wasn't like wowing the crowds. Because animation to us, like or to back then, was the CGI. To do things that you can't do in movies. To show scenes and shots and imagination. You can't have talking animals. And I think they lean too much on that to kind of like, separate itself. Like, this is different from regular movies.
Right.
We're still in fantasy land and still fantasy world that we're creating with animation. And, and you have the introduction of computers, like just starting supposedly in the 70s. Suppose IMDb.
There was you see that little gust of wind? That wind effect, that was CG.
Yeah. So, it's a transition period, and you need them. You need in order to appreciate
Yeah.
it, and also to learn.
Yeah.
Once you have such a great man such as Walt and his storytelling and his way of doing things, and to really find your own identity. And I think isn't that the arc of like the son after having a great dad? He's got to go through a journey. He's got to get like slapped around, and then in order to be a great man, he has to step out of his dad's shadow and find his own identity.
Right.
And I think that story arc really is telling of Disney animation in this moment.
Yes. Although not necessarily a great moment for Disney animation, but it was an important
Yeah.
part. So, not to downgrade this era, but movie's not good, but it was important
Yeah.
Yeah.
that these movies did come out.
Don't do.
Don't do this again.
Well, let us know what your thoughts were on these movies during this age. Are you a fan of The Black Cauldron? Let us know. You can follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook. You can email us at matterhornyoders@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. And make sure you follow us on Spotify or any other listening platform. We love a simple follow or a rating review helps us for our podcasts. And with that being said, have a magical day.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember, before your bobsled comes to a complete stop, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember...
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.